All right, welcome back to the Starfighter podcast with Dom and Jake, your co-hosts. We're here Wednesday night talking about Mandalorian season 3, episode 5, The Pirate. Jake, how are you doing?
I'm up to light speed this week, I think.
You are
So
okay. Nice,
almost
nice.
98%. I can't push it too hard.
It's good to
So
hear.
don't want to blow up the light speed engines. You know what I mean?
Always good to see you. Always good
Good to see
to
you too,
be
man.
on the podcast with you. And of course, we appreciate our viewers tuning in, whether it's live or on the replay. Don't forget to hit that like button. Definitely leave us a comment. More than anything else, we want to hear about your theories, and we want to hear about how you enjoyed this episode.
And
All
also how wrong you think we are.
right. Yeah.
So
Even if it's a little controversial, that's fine.
uh,
A little bit is totally cool.
hey, we're trying to be Mandalorians, and I'm pretty sure that she says controversy is needed to make a Mandalorian. So
All right, Jake. Initial thoughts of this episode.
best episode of the season? Question mark? I think it was, and I'm trying to think back of
I,
what really there
so
was.
I think probably, yeah.
It was definitely the biggest episode. Like a lot of action. They went big with it. A lot of, I thought, amazing CGI. It's kind of ridiculous looking at this show and then watching something like She-Hulk, and you're like, what happened there? So
Right. And I mean last week, or when was it? We did our show late last week. We did it on Saturday, but I was saying how last week's episode a little bit lackluster when it came to the CGI in certain scenes. But this week I felt like we're kind of back up to par. Everything was looking pretty good. Especially one reveal in particular, which we'll get to.
yeah, I think the word you were looking for was up to light speed. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we were up to light speed. I mean, honestly, some of the shots, like the POV shots we'll get into later, when Mando encounters the pirates, is just so cool. So I loved it. Yeah.
I would have to agree. I think
9 out of 10 or what? Not quite there for you, Dom?
No, I think probably a 9 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's where I'm floating.
It's cool because in some ways it kind of felt like it had that vibe where it's sort of like the adventure of the week, which we've always had here and there with this show, and with Star Wars in general. Like that goes back to like its roots, the shows and movies that George Lucas grew up on, and kind of capturing that feel. So sort of like the adventure of the week in some aspects, but then also like big things are happening at the same time. You know what I mean? Like noteworthy stuff. So really good.
I don't want to say I kind of called last week's episode with what I was saying about how that was really a Paz Vizsla episode and Bo-Katan episode more than anything else, because it really led into this episode we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, I love what they did last week to kind of set this up this week in the future. That's why I enjoyed last week's episode a little bit more than you did. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely did.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. That's cool.
I mean, I'll ask you just straight up front. I know you probably don't even feel like that. I know a lot of people don't necessarily feel like this, but are you okay with them kind of focusing a little bit more on Bo-Katan this season? Like she's
I'm a little bit right. I'm a little bit surprised that they've chosen to do it. I think some people might say it's a little bit of a risky move, but it makes sense. And I mean, it makes sense to you and me and other like hardcore fans. Again, if you've watched Clone Wars and Rebels, because you just know, and which I mentioned last week, like, I mean, Bo-Katan, she's the heiress to the throne. She's destined to lead the Mandalorians. So it makes total sense that she kind of becomes at least a supporting character, if not, main character, but secondary. Still
Yeah.
kind of secondary, but she's up there with Din Djarin at this point, getting a lot more screen time. And yeah, I mean the story is like almost just as much hers as it is Din's, so I think it's pretty cool. I'm here for it. She's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get to it. Like, I have other questions to ask you at the end of this
for sure.
episode, so I'm excited to get your opinion.
Yeah, same here. I want to definitely hear what you thought of like these really crazy parts in the episode. But yeah, we can start from the beginning with our intro scene. We see, and we called it, a while ago. We knew the pirates were going to come back, and of course, that's the title of this week's episode. So yeah, we see the ship go over Navarro, and Gorian. What's the last name?
I feel like some people are calling him Gorian Sharp, so it's something like
yeah
or something like, what is it? I can't remember.
Yeah. So he's flying over Navarro and talking to Grief Karga. Why are you laughing?
Grief Karga, yeah, Grief Karga. Yeah. No reason.
And all right then. So he's kind of threatening Grief Karga, and he's not going for it. Obviously, we don't negotiate with pirates, so of course,
all right,
he lets him have it. Starts firing on Navarro, and everyone's in chaos. So this is our intro scene. Grief obviously has to help the people, find some cover and get to safety. So, but before that, we see him send out a message to our rebel friend, whose name I also forget. But our boy,
we'll call him Blue.
Yeah, that's what they call him. Blue. So yeah, we'll call him Blue as well. So he sends a message out to Blue. Hopefully, he can get some support from the New Republic. And that is our intro scene. Anything you want to speak on about this?
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that the guy knew that he was bluffing so much. I mean, obviously he knows him so well that he's like, yeah, bro, like, I know when you're bluffing. That was pretty interesting. So, I mean, I'm sure they go far back, but I thought it was cool to hear that one line I kind of mentioned before we started the show, where he says, whatever that pirate's name is, shot first. And obviously a callback to the Han Solo argument that's been going on for years, that George Lucas changed in the remake or remastered version of Star Wars to show that the guy actually shot first at Han Solo. So I thought that was funny. Nice little Easter egg, kind of.
Yeah.
If you know, and you're kind of like, oh, just like in the other episode when the guy was like, it's a trap to the guy. You're just like, oh,
right.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Kind of really hit me. I thought it was maybe a little bit more devastating than most. He just started laying out this town. And I don't want this to sound cruel, but not even because of the townspeople, but more for the actual town that they just rebuilt. And it was just flourishing so much. And they just kind of, in the past, maybe year or two, got this place up, and then it just goes straight down. So kind of rough to see.
Right? Just like that.
Just like that.
We've got chaos again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, after this, we of course cut back over to Blue and the New Republic base. He obviously gets the message, and shortly after that, we also get a really cool cameo. I immediately texted you, and I was hoping that you were watching at the same time, but you hadn't started the episod yet. But
is that why you got all excited?
Yeah, I was excited about this.
Okay.
So we get to see Zeb from Rebels, which was awesome. He's on the Phoenix Squad, with Hera and Kanan and Ezra and Sabine. So that was really awesome. And then this is what I wanted to mention about as far as CGI goes. Also, I think it was CGI. I would have to take a look again. Maybe there's some practical effects as well.
Was
But he
Zeb?
looked, yeah, he looked great. He looked great.
I think it's just really good CGI. Like it was. I'm so happy that they did him good.
Yeah, and
Like
it's the same. As far as I know, it's the same voice actor from Rebels. So this is awesome. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's like one of the benefits of having a CGI character, like a cartoon character that's like a monster kind of or alien that you can CGI, is that you can use the same voice and it's the exact same. Like, and they did so well with him, making him from a cartoon to being realistic.
mm-hmm.
I thought it was awesome. He doesn't look the exact same, but he looks real. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you
So
can definitely tell it's
yeah.
him. You can definitely tell it's that species.
So this is after Rebels, obviously, and they've all parted ways. Ezra's missing, and so he just joined the New Republic pilots. Is that basically what's going on?
I mean,
Because this is years after Rebels, right?
yeah. But there's so many questions. Also, that's a little bit hard to say because the end of Rebels, there's a really big time jump. You know what I mean? You go from between episodes 3 and 4 to past Return of the Jedi at the end of Rebels.
Oh, you do?
At the very end, yeah, when Ahsoka and who was it? Ahsoka and Sabine, yeah, when they're heading out.
Okay, because I think I told you this. We've talked about this. I don't really remember the ending of Rebels. So
yeah, there's a pretty big time jump there.
Okay.
So that gets a little blurry, but yeah, this is really awesome to start finally seeing the Phoenix Squadron.
Yeah, I think it's like a pretty big hint too that he's going to be showing up with Ahsoka in her series. So
it could be that Zeb is there, and him and Sabine are kind of trying to, figure out where Gideon is, because maybe once they get to Gideon, they get to Thrawn, something like that. Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say that he's 100% with the New Republic at this point. But yeah, hopefully we'll find out. These episodes, they've just been raising more and more questions, I feel like, which it's cool because like it's exciting, but at the same time it's kind of been a little bit frustrating because but not like it's not bad or anything. It's just I want to know. You know what I mean? It's like so anxious to know, and it just feels like that every episode there's like, well, what does that mean, and like what's gonna happen now, and it should be that way for sure, but it just feels like a lot more questions and like a lot more uncertainty. So I think that we're definitely building up to something pretty big.
Yeah, and we'll get to that at the end and kind of post like credit scene, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's not really. It's like a beginning credit scene because the episode ends and then it's like, hey, guess what? This is happening. Stay tuned. Yeah.
So, did you want to talk a little bit about when like Blue goes to talk to? I don't know if that was I can't remember if that was the sergeant or whatever.
The principal from Even Stevens.
Well, he's also in.
Was he in Drake and Josh too?
Probably. He's in the Goldbergs.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. He took me out of it a little bit. That was a little bit jarring. I don't think he fits.
Yeah. Kind of. I was.
I mean, I like the actor. Like he's funny. It was just like it just seemed kind of silly, and especially when like Blue and then like the G, what is it, G something, but the Imperial, the double agent. She's like, both of them are like really serious, and then he's just like so.
Elia, the whatever her name is, Elia.
Yeah, both of them are like super serious, and he's just like so laid back and like
Well, I
just
thought that's
just
what was so
silly.
perfect. That's why I loved it, because it's showing like
Okay.
how like nonchalant
Yeah,
all like the
that's the word.
actual yeah, he's just like nonchalant. He kind of doesn't care about anyone else's problems. He's focused on, like I heard someone say, he's more focused in like garbage in his backyard than he is like with the problems of the universe. And I was like, that's
Oh yeah.
perfect, because he is, right? He's like cleaning house still, trying to get rid of all that stuff, and it's just like really showing how clustered, like, and absent-minded, or just distracted, I guess would be the word, for the New Republic with like all their policy making and all this other stuff of like getting rid of an old regime and trying to get their regime going, the New Republic, that they aren't seeing the bigger threat that's out there. Like, they've been through so much war that in most cases, a lot of people that go through war don't really care. They need like peace afterwards, and so they like turn a blind eye to some things, and so that's when like war happens again, and that's why it becomes a cycle.
Right.
So that's pretty much what's going on, which is a bummer. But yeah, I mean, right when Blue walks in, you see Elia like notice him and be like, okay, like I got to eavesdrop on this and check this out. And so even in some of the like most of the shots when he's talking to the principal of even Stevens, you see her in the background kind of like looking and checking in. Yeah, and I thought it was really funny because she walks in, the pilot knows Blue's like, I heard someone talk about it like he's a beat cop or something, and like this guy just works in the building, so he doesn't really care about the streets, but he's out on the streets and he wants to find, like, he's dedicated, wants to solve this like mystery and crime that's going on. And they just blow him off, and the guy asks, he's like, hey, you worked on like the Outer Rim? And she's like, yeah, I actually spent time at Navarra, which is where they found them making those Snokes. So clearly she already knows about the cloning. She's like so deep into it, and she's just kind of like a, what are those called? The spies that are like planted, like
Double agent.
no, there's like another word, like I don't know. It's like an espionage kind of thing that's going on, right? So she's like taking and spilling out information.
She is a double agent though.
Yeah, she's a double agent.
And it's Captain Carson, by the way.
Blue? Yeah.
Yeah, Blue.
Yeah. I knew it started with a C. I just didn't know it. But yeah, Carson, he doesn't like this chick, and he doesn't trust her like immediately, especially like what she's saying and acting.
Oh yeah.
So
she's really
I love Carson, and unfortunately I think he's probably gonna die in this season or next season, because he's a good enough guy. Yeah, dude, straight up.
She might take him out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, interesting scene. I thought it told like a lot about what's going on behind the scenes with the New Republic and all that stuff. So, and that girl is crazy. So I don't know what's going on with her, like taking out that scientist though. So obviously I think she just didn't want her secret to be revealed, that she's like, probably still with the Empire.
Yeah.
So she took out that doctor, but I mean, yeah, we'll see.
Well, all right, and next we see Carson go. Obviously, he doesn't get any help from the New Republic, so he goes to the base, tracks down Din Djarin. So Peli must have like registered R5 under Din Djarin's name, and so that's how he was most likely able to find the droid and then find Din Djarin.
That was
in case anyone was wondering, that's probably what happened.
I was so confused, yeah,
because they're like, how the heck did you find us? Like, no one finds us, you know what I mean?
It's just like I didn't know how he knew that Mando had that droid. Like, I didn't get that connection whatsoever.
It was also kind of funny, like how on edge everyone was, and he's just like, "Relax, guys, like,
calm down, folks."
Yeah. And so he lets him know that Greef Karga is in trouble. and do what you want with that information. I'm out. So he leaves. He's not going to help. And then this next scene was pretty cool too. We get to see everyone like around the camp, gathering around the campfire, if you will, SpongeBob style. And also the talking hammer. That this reminded me of an episode of New
Don't
Girl.
tell me the okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You ever watch that show?
No, it reminds me of Lord of the Flies.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure
completely different.
I'm sure you've seen this thing before, but like with the talking stick, and like some people do it at schools, and so like the teacher would pass around like a talking stick, and then if you had the stick, then you could talk. So that's basically what it was. Whoever had the hammer, was allowed to speak, and so Din's obviously making a case for them going to Navarro and liberating Navarro from the pirates and the invasion. And then Paz Vizsla steps up, and you kind of think that he's gonna start to go against Din, but then he's like, he doesn't. He's like, no, like we should all trust this guy, and he risked his life for my son. And yeah, so like the beef, like they squashed it, like it squashed. Him and Din, they're buddies now, and yeah, like he's just like, we have to do this. So that was pretty cool. And obviously everyone agrees, and they're all on board. And then, of course, again, it just makes sense. But Bo-Katan takes the lead and putting the whole plan together for how they're going to take back Navarro. Anything you want to talk about here?
Yeah, several things. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Do it.
Listen, I'm not gonna say I might have been onto something last week, but might have been onto something last week. All right. I kind of saw this coming where you see Paz Vizsla kind of really now following Din, and I thought it was super interesting. If you look throughout this episode, I don't know if you caught it, but pretty much any time something was happening, i.e., when at the very end the armor says what she says and makes her like clan or like creed about what they're doing next, and even Paz looks at Din like, is this chill? Like, do you agree with this? And he like gives him the nod. So he does that on several occasions throughout this episode, and I think that the armor is kind of freaking out.
Like eye contact with the armor.
Like when the pilot, with Paz instead of the armor. Paz doesn't do it with the armor anymore. He looks at Din, and Din's always not like, dude, like it's cool. Like I'm pretty sure he does that when the pilot shows up. He does it at the end. Like he kind of is following Din's lead more than the armor. And I think the armor didn't like that. I think that's kind of maybe her plan, what she's doing with Foe, but we can get into that. But I thought it was a cool setup last week and a good payoff this week to kind of see that Paz is really like into following Din and thinks that he's probably like a really respectable guy.
Yeah.
And he's even willing to kind of break a few rules with him. So maybe we'll see that happen when he takes off his helmet later.
That'll be interesting.
And that's going to be a theory that like I'll just talk about at the end because I know that we haven't got there. But yeah, super cool, super jazzed about it. Excited to see where this takes us. So, but
yeah,
I thought that he was gonna maybe kill Grogu in that scene when he's like, so many people died for that child right there. Yeah, that I was just gonna take out a blaster and smoke him. I don't know, dude. There's been several times Baby Grogu flies in when Bo's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get rid of it once and for all." Thought he was gonna get blown up straight up from a cannon. Okay, and then the last episode when she's smashing the armor together and he's all sitting there like in between, it's all smashing. I'm like, they're throwing Baby Grogu in that little smasher. Didn't happen. And then this episode, I thought he was just gonna get blasted in the face from Paz, and it just
Too
didn't
many
happen.
close calls.
Dude, he's getting lucky.
Too many close calls.
Something's gonna happen to that poor little fella. And I don't know what, but something.
All right, well, we can pretty much get into what's the climax of this episode when, they execute the plan and they go after Gorian's ship. I mean, this whole sequence is like super, super awesome, really fun, action packed. I love, the scenes where we're in the air and then also the ground battle as well. Again, Bo-Katan's ship, it's just so cool. And also seeing the Mandalorians, drop from the ship. We already saw some of that in the trailer, but we got to see more, obviously, and everything just looked so cool, and it was all well executed, both like in the story and then like from a film standpoint too. Looked great.
Yeah. All of it? Is it all open for discussion now?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, just like the battle. We don't have to talk about the end scene yet, or
right,
like
right.
the double end scene.
Right. Let's talk about the battle.
Okay, dude, sick. Love it. So awesome. I love the concept. We know that where we first saw Mando is on Navarra, and now they're going back to this place that they were shunned from, and they had to live in the sewers. And I love Bo-Katan's speech before they get there, and she's like, "You guys lived here, you lived in the sewers, like no one wanted you there, but now you guys have the chance for like salvation." And I think, listen, we've been talking about this a lot. I think in this whole season is rebirth and salvation through your rebirth, and I think that with all the different, literally, like what is it called? When you go get like baptized, right? It's like everyone's getting baptized right now, and they're looking for redemption. Didn't have to go like baptize himself. The kid got baptized, and I think that like this rebirth baptism thing is going to be really big in this season. And I have a theory about something, but theory time will be at the end. But totally love it. Totally hyped me up for the actual
join
battle.
Jake on his separate podcast called Theory Time with Jake.
Yeah. But yeah, totally love it. Action was so cool. Did you notice too how that his like second in command, like the pirate guy, whatever his name was, his second in command looked
Vane.
like Vane, looked like this Sneed from like Captain Hook's second in command with the striped shirt and the red bandana.
Wait. No, Vane is the
He's the actual guy. He's a pilot. Yeah, the pirate.
No, but yes.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe too, like the Hook vibes, or what's his name?
Sneed, I think is it, or Smee or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool little Disney Easter egg, but.
And then he's basically like Davy Jones, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he kind of looks like Davy Jones, from Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. Gosh, there was another thing I'm trying to remember, but I thought this was some of the coolest action for sure. Like the space, it's not even in space; it was just kind of an air battle with this kind of land battle that was going on with the Mandalorians. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I suspend like belief, like I have disbelief that like anything's gonna go wrong or whatever." But I'm just gullible. But I was like, okay, like there might be a few deaths here when the Mandos on the ground were cornered.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly didn't see the armor coming in. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that was a nice surprise. And she kind of just takes people out, dude. She like throws the hammer. She's bashing people. Did you enjoy that or what?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was just like when she took out the troopers at the end of season 1.
Okay, we did see that. Okay,
Yeah,
this was way cooler though.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but I thought that maybe Paz was gonna die after he got shot. I was like, okay, like this is not looking good for him.
Yeah, I mean the pirates put up a fight for a little bit.
Surprisingly, I think there was
Yeah,
a lot more pirates though than
yeah,
Mandalorians.
yeah,
So,
for sure. So yeah, I mean overall, just a really great scene. Um, I usually watch the episode 2 or 3 times, so I'm looking forward to watching it again. Because like I said, it was a lot of fun watching this part, especially. Um, yeah, where do you want to go here from next? Where do you want to go next from here?
well,
People are just walking walking in. All right, we'll give Jake just a second. If you're watching on the replay, guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And more than anything, drop us a comment. How are you guys feeling about this episode 5? We are, 5 episodes in, and we only have 3 more episodes to go. So, pretty crazy stuff.
all right. So after this, yeah, 5 episodes in, we have 3 more left. Super jazzed about it. But after this, I'm pretty sure it just cuts down to, first of all, I'm sick of people complaining about, okay, there was 25 people that escaped this massive city, town, or whatever you want to call it, because we see when the pirates are taking over the place that there's still people that are trapped in the city still, like the serving and stuff. So there's quite a few people that were stuck in their homes that haven't been rescued yet. They're just kind of stuck there. So don't give me any of that nonsense. I know Disney doesn't want to pay 100, actors to go stand there. So I get why they did that, but I'm glad they paid. I'm glad they paid 20 actors and then did really good CGI.
On Zeb.
Yeah, on Zeb, dude, on everything this episode. But
Yeah.
they bounced it and they saved the village, and then what's his name? I'm gonna call him Apollo Creed, but what's the guy's name?
Grief Karga.
Grief. There you go. Grief Karga, gives them that plot of land.
Yeah.
That I thought was cool because he obviously didn't need to, but he also sees the benefit of having a bunch of just BA warriors on his planet that'll protect him.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives him a bunch of land. Really nice guy. And then Paz comes up and tells Bo-Katan, like, hey, the armor wants to talk to you. Like, come with me. And they go down into the sewers where they live.
I was like, immediately, I was like, it's happening.
I was like, dude, I think you didn't feel any sort of hesitation, like, oh, like what's going on here? Like, is she in trouble? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
and then
I gotta say something real quick about this part. Yeah. Well, immediately,
say what you want to say, bro.
Immediately, I'm like, it's kind of strange, but at the same time, like it kind of makes sense that like she wants to have a private conversation. You know what I mean? Something is going on here, and I know we're gonna really dive into this also. I want to know if you got this, Jake. I want to know if other people are paying attention to stuff like this too. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts if you're picking up on any of these vibes. But the music in this scene, because I feel like we're getting thrown off. We're getting thrown off in a way, but the music in this scene, it's very ominous. Like something is up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when she's walking into the cave or whatever here, to the forge. Yeah, like the music sounds pretty dark. Like something is going on. Could be a coincidence, but a lot of times in Star Wars, like the music means something. You know what I mean? So, did you pick up on any of those vibes?
yes, and I'm still trying to figure out if it's a mislead or if it's like, okay, it's so tough to say because we've already heard. Let me get into this. I guess we can kind of get into this. Wait,
Let's get into it.
we can just talk about the music real quick. But yeah, I think it might be a mislead, but if not, I think it's gonna be a great reveal. And you kind of were going down this track when we talked about it last night a little bit after the episode.
Yeah.
I think you told me who you think the armor is, which it's like Rook something.
Yeah, I've heard that was possible.
So if that's the case, it could go one of two ways, which I'm very interested to get into. But yeah, definitely awkward vibes, bro. Like you don't feel comfortable, and you feel like
And she
something
doesn't feel
shady's.
comfortable. Bo doesn't feel comfortable either, like because she asks her to take off her helmet, and and it doesn't make sense to her, obviously, right?
Yeah, she's like doesn't do it, and the armor has to ask like a second time, like sternly, like you're in my presence when I tell you to do something, like do it, lady. And so she sighs, and I love the acting too, where she could sigh and you could tell like she's questioning, like, am I gonna take off my helmet? And she's gonna tell me, oh, sorry, like you're out, like gotcha, or like what was her plan?
Well, this relationship that they have is not built on trust. You know what I mean? Like maybe if we're reading too much into it, then they have established some trust because of Bo-Katan, you know, going into the water, into the living water, and then also Bo-Katan saving the foundling. We have established some trust in that way. But prior to this, the armorer really looks down on Bo-Katan, like so many other Mandalorians did. And then Bo-Katan is kind of like, well, I don't like you either. You know what I mean? Like you guys have it twisted also. So, yeah, their relationship has not been built on trust, really. So
No, but gosh, dude, I just don't know what to think.
I know
They could take it so many
Crazy.
different directions. Yeah. Yeah. So she asks her to take off her helmet. Then she's like, hey, like, blah, blah, blah. You've walked both ways, and I think it's your time to kind of bring the Mandalorians together. I don't know, Dom, does she say lead, or is she just like say bring the Mandalorians together? Because I feel like she does say like lead the Mandalorians, but
I mean, essentially, yeah. She's going to be the one to unite them, which, again, I don't know if she's just saying that and then, to trick Bo-Katan somehow. But in either case, like that's what I've been saying. Like Bo-Katan is destined to do this. Like she is the one that's going to be uniting the Mandalorians in the end. And then, I mean, it's also interesting, and it sort of makes sense too about walking both ways. She's been, that kind of goes back to like the older age of Mandalorians and the newer age of Mandalorians now.
yeah. So you think I'm gonna just shoot my shot here and ask you, I guess. So you think that she's manipulating Bo-Katan? Who do you think it is, the armor? What's her deal right now, do you think? Or what are the possibilities, I guess, that are running through your head about what's going on, like with what she's doing with Bo-Katan? Yeah, like just to spill the tea here, man. Give me your theory.
I really don't know if I've like established like a legitimate theory just yet.
What are the
But
possibilities
I mean, I've
that
heard
you
that
think?
theory about it being Rook, which we see her. She's, kind of higher ranked in the Shadow Collective, Darth Maul's crew of Mandalorians at the end of the Clone Wars, and I believe Bo-Katan and Rook even fight a little bit at the end of that war on Mandalore. So absolutely sick. Those 4 episodes, guys, you have to do it. You have to watch it.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, so that's a possibility. I don't remember ever seeing Rook in Rebels. At least I'm pretty sure we don't. So I don't know if she died or maybe she lived on. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, well, I kind of feel like we need to get into like the final part of the episode to go a little bit further on what I'm thinking. Like
Okay.
the last scene.
Okay. Yeah. So
Talk about
after, yeah, I'll let you spill the tea on that. I'm gonna hand it off to you. But after they have this conversation, they basically just go up and she has her helmet off, and then she announces to the whole clan of Mandalorians, like, "Hey, she has her helmet off. She's gonna go out. She's gonna lead us. She's gonna go, or she doesn't. No, at this point, she doesn't say lead. I remember in this scene specifically, she doesn't say lead. She's like, she's gonna go find other Mandalorians and bring us together.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the scene that I was talking about where Paz Vizsla said, like, doesn't say anything, just looks at Din, and Din's like, yeah, like that sounds cool, like that's chill. And so Paz is like, okay, I'm fine with this. Like, she could have her helmet off. All right, like, let's go along with this. So you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be some manipulation, like I said last week at the end of it, where I think Paz Vizsla is going to start siding with Din a lot more, and the armor is going to be upset about it because she thought that Paz was like her secondhand guy that wants to follow her and would do anything and fight Din for the sword and all that stuff. And now she's like, all right, like, I don't care about him. Like, he's going in a different direction. I'm definitely going to use Bo as like my person to go get the Darksaber to like lead the clan. And basically she wants to be, it's like poetry, it rhymes. She wants to be like Palpatine was, kind of like a senator behind the scenes running everything while somebody else thinks they have the power, but she's really manipulating everything to like her advantage to soon rule whatever she wants to do. But anyway, so what?
It's tough not knowing more of the armorer's backstory. You know what I mean? Because we
I think
just
she's
don't.
Rook.
Yeah,
She has to be.
even then, like, we don't know. We don't really know the angle exactly. We don't really know all of her motives, like why she does what she does.
One of two things, man.
Does she want to be the Mandalore, the the one to lead all of them? Does she think that she's kind of the chosen one? I think also maybe finding, like, getting her hands on more Beskar, which is super valuable as we know. I think that's going to come into play again. We kind of we talked about that a couple times, like in season 1. Like, they kind of established like Beskar is extremely valuable to the Mandalorians especially, but to just like the general galaxy. Beskar is like a huge deal, big currency. So I feel like that might come into play again as well.
Okay, so you don't know if it's Rook, but
No, I don't.
you think that the armor is a bad person?
Probably, yeah. And even when I messaged you about that, I wasn't even necessarily saying that she was Rook. I do think that there's a chance, but okay, let's get into the last part, and then we'll get back to this. But of course, I mean, that it's a great last shot. Well, at least we think it's the last shot when we see Bo-Katan, kind of like that. We just see this final shot of her, and she looks determined.
So can I ask you something before we get into this last one? just because this is where I really wanted to ask you some questions about what you think is coming up. Before we get to that, because it just is honestly a Bo-Katan focused question. What do you think's going on? Like, do you think we're seeing her again this season? Do you think that they're setting up a spinoff for her? Do you or do you think that it's gonna go quick and that she's gonna do her job in like the next episode or two, and then have like a final big episode? Like, what do you think's happening with that whole thing?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think that we're probably gonna see more of her. I think we're gonna see her to the end of the season. But I guess you make a good point that there is a chance that there's a twist there, and then we don't get to see her till next season, which I would be disappointed with that. But I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah,
It felt like from the beginning we were kind of going pretty fast. Like we had mentioned, we didn't think they would get to Mandalore so soon at the beginning of the season. So it felt like we were
seriously.
moving fast, and that was awesome. But then there's been moments where it starts to kind of slow down. Like we lose momentum here with our story a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still loving the season. It's just I feel like certain moments like we're starting to slow down. So I don't know. You could be onto something there. They might slow it down even more and be like, okay, well, Din and Grogu, they're gonna go focus on this side mission for a little bit while Bo-Katan is focused on doing this, and then we'll reconnect and go, take back Mandalore together.
Okay,
in
because
the next season, but I hope not.
I was hoping not either, because when that happened at the end of this scene right here, I was like, oh no, like we're not going to see her again. She's going to leave. Like this is them announcing like, oh, she's gone. Like get ready for maybe the spin-off show with just Bo-Katan like running around trying to figure things out, like a Mando season 3.5 without Mando. But and then I started thinking to myself, well, hold up, back up, wait a second. Who's to say that Bo-Katan's not going to have Din and Grogu and Paz Vizsla go with her on this trip to unite? True. To have someone from like 3 different clans come together and be like, yeah, like we're forming up, like get together, and let's do this. And I think that this is leading into
Sabine?
Huh?
Does she find Sabine?
I don't know. Is that the armor? I don't know. We're gonna find out here.
Wait, you think Sabine isn't the armor?
No. I mean, no, maybe.
No. She's too young. She's too young.
I know, that's what I was thinking too.
But
yeah.
no, do you think Bo-Katan finds Sabine like maybe in the next episode?
So that's what's confusing me, because I feel like that would be so quick. I hope that she does, and that's why I almost lean towards a spinoff or maybe like this season just kind of ends and they're like, all right, like get ready, like she's still going to be looking for people and she's going to find Sabine and bring her in mid-season next season, and then that's when Thrawn's going to be there and Moff Gideon's going to be there, and but she has to. I think the first thing she's going to do is go find the owls again. And
I got something on that too.
Okay, so
we got to get to this last part.
I know, but anyways, I'm hoping to God that it's Paz Vizsla, Din, and her go out, and I hope that we get to see Paz's face. Like that's what I'm saying. If he leaves the armor and travels with them and starts seeing like how they operate and being like, oh, like this is the way. Like we can do certain things, and then him be a little bit more liberated from the cultish kind of like situation he was in before. But
so we're gonna see Jon Favreau in the suit. You think?
Dude, I mean, what are they gonna do? Just CGI his head onto this big body that's there, bro? Because there's no way that Jon Favreau is that big of a dude, as big as this guy. Like there's no chance that they can do that unless they just like Photoshop his face on this guy.
Maybe they'll just move the camera up.
Dude, I don't know, bro. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I honestly don't think Jon Favreau's gonna be in the suit.
But it's him.
Are you sure? Because I've heard a couple times like this season, like they just switched voices for this guy.
It's him. It's his character.
You sure? Well, it's
Yeah,
not him in the suit, bro.
I know. Hey, it's not Pedro Pascal a lot of times in the suit.
Hey, don't tell me that. I want to believe it. Okay.
I know. I was irritated when I found that out.
I was so upset. I was like, he's not even an actor. Okay. He's not even doing method acting. All right. What's going on here?
He is an actor. He's great.
Sometimes. Questionable.
Oh wow. Okay. I don't want to go
Questionable.
there. I don't want to go there.
You ever seen Wonder Woman 1984? Okay.
We don't. Well, we don't talk about that.
Okay.
Although we did do a review on that on the channel at one point.
I didn't, did I?
No.
Okay, thank God.
Me and the other Jake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. I was like, this is okay. Anyways, getting off track here.
Yeah, we are.
But I'm hoping to God that Din, Paz, Grogu, and Bo go on their own little mission for at least an episode or two.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think that they're going to leave Grogu behind with the armor and he's going to get indoctrinated and all this stuff by the armor? Because that's the other thing I was thinking. Where they would like divide everybody and they'd be like, oh no. You know?
Possibly.
Anyways.
Well, let's talk about the final scene. Are you ready?
Yeah, because it's going to be major theory time. So
we get back to Captain Carson. He's doing some investigating in space and comes across this Imperial shuttle. Haven't seen one of these Imperial shuttles in a while, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I don't know if we've seen any in the sequel trilogy, but, you know, obviously last film may have been Return of the Jedi, so really cool to see this. I think we see them in Rebels too. So at first I was wondering if like Thrawn was in there. You know, maybe he was like passed out or something, but somehow still alive.
I can't wait to shoot so many holes in your theory that you're about to shoot out, bro.
But I was really hoping to see Thrawn inside. I thought that would have been so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he sends out this little droid to go inspect, and I think they find a couple of bodies, and you know, they do a scan, and obviously Moff Gideon was there, and he's been taken. So Captain Carson, like, you know, he's been right this whole time. Like something bigger has been going on, and he had suspected that, you know, Gideon had been captured and never made it to his trial to begin with. So there's that, and then, you know, we come across some Beskar inside the cockpit as well. So, you know, he concludes that it had to have been Mandalorians that took Moff Gideon, which, you know, a bunch of different theories could come of that. Also,
did he?
I will. He asks the question.
Well, no, the guy asks over. He's like, "Oh, are you saying Mandalorians did this?" And he's like, "No." Like, he's in disbelief because he just talked to one. So, but theory time.
Okay, yeah. So the question is posed. May not have been him, but the question was posed for the audience.
I think that's important. I think that's why I'm pointing that out.
It's a good point for sure. I'm glad you did, and because I was just about to say, there's a bunch of different directions you could take it, especially like if you are going to, if we're talking about, okay, which Mandalorians could it have been? But at the same time, this could be misdirect as well. You know, this could be Thrawn and like his tactics, you know what I mean? Like Thrawn is just super clever that way. So that's also another direction, you know what I mean?
So I think both are
very possible.
You think Mandalorians took over? Because I felt like your theory, like, no, dude, like it's definitely Mandalorians that came.
I don't know.
That's
Uh,
what you were leaning earlier, at least when we talked about it.
yeah, but then I started recently thinking about it being Thrawn, like just like throwing people off. Um, so a lot of times I think about like these theories, and then I think about Disney. You know what I mean? And like, okay, like this might make sense for like how canon could go, but at the same time, like, does this make sense for Disney? Does this make like for the writers to do this, um, sort of thing? Um, I don't, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because the other thing too is that like as much as I talk about, you know, being rewarded for watching Clone Wars and Rebels, Favreau and Filoni, they obviously play a huge part in those shows, but at the end of the day, they don't want to have too much what we call inside baseball, to where like this audience that only watches Mandalorian, they can't understand certain things if they haven't gone and seen Clone Wars. Like they're hoping, as am I, for like those fans to go and watch Clone Wars and Rebels, but you know, they're also gonna make it so that like everyone can like follow. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
gonna be too um inside baseball. It's not gonna be too secluded to like the hardcore fans.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, now I guess we just get to like the nitty gritty of things. Okay.
Yeah, break it down.
Let me break it down for everybody. Spoiler alert. Okay. This is all factual things I'm about to tell you. All right.
Don't say that.
Let me tell you guys right now. All right. I know the
Here we
CEO
go. Here
at
we go.
Disney, and he gave me the script. All right. So here we go. No, I think total setup. I think the armor is Rook. I think that she was disgraced by her people. That's why she always wears her helmet, and that's why she ran away. And we don't really know who this person is because she doesn't want her identity to be known, also known as the armor. Very simple. That's what she does. I think that she's looking for redemption. I think that's a major arc in this whole. Yeah, I'll get to Maul in a second. So I think that she was disgraced. I think that this is a redemption story for her. I think she definitely wants Mandalorian to be in the right hands, or Mandalore to be in the right hands, and maybe that's what she's struggling with right now. I don't think she's going for the throne like you don't think she is. Obviously, she's had opportunities to, and she doesn't even want it. You know, she kind of wants to find the right leader of Mandalore. So I think it's a complete misthrow from her. She already knew who Bo-Katan was when she rolled up to the party. She's like, "Oh, Bo-Katan, like I fought you on Mandalore, like I know who you are," and that's kind of why. And Bo-Katan actually beat her, like fought her and beat her in that battle, and so she might have a little bit more respect and seeing.
Oh, you're saying if it is Rook.
If it is Rook, that's how she knew, and she has this kind of respect for her now, where she's like, okay, I can see how you're a good leader. Like your strategies are really good, and I think that you should be the leader. I think complete setup. I think it's Thrawn, and he saved Gideon. We saw those fighter pilots come in episode 2 or episode 3, in the beginning of episode 3, that came in and destroyed Bo-Katan's temple. So I definitely think it's Thrawn that got him out of there. There's no way that a Mandalorian would leave Beskar behind, just laying around. It's like their favorite thing in the world. They're not going to just leave a chunk of it in a ship and then blow it up. That ain't happening. Clear setup. And along with what you were saying, I think this is what you're alluding to with Disney and their plans and stuff. I think that it was definitely a way for the Mandalorians to kind of get blamed for this, to cause division between the rebellion and the Mandalorians, because Thrawn's a very strategic guy, and he knows that the Mandalorians are a great threat to him, especially if they're linked up with the rebellion. So it's not only a distraction for the rebellion and the Mandalorians to be fighting each other, but I also believe that like he's trying to get rid of the forces by having them fight each other. And so when he comes
Mhm.
up and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" Like they're already dwindled, which they already are because we've seen that in this episode when they go and they don't have enough pilots to back up the planet from the pirates, and so very big setup I think for Thrawn. I definitely think he's around. We've already seen his ships, I believe, in episode 3 or whatever, and definitely think it's Rook. And I think that she's more on a redemption path than she is trying to divide the Mandalorians. Like she wants Bo-Katan to go out and get them. She knows that something else is out there that's bigger than her. Like she was part of the dark side there for a second, so she understands how they play the game. So I think she's suspecting something coming, and she wants her people to be ready and prepared because she knows that strength in numbers is a thing, especially for the Mandalorians because they're such good fighters. But yeah, she was a bit of an extremist, obviously, and that's why she's still kind of an extremist now
Can I
with her
pull this
like
up again?
thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Rook may have been this one on the right, the back right.
Yes. Yeah, that's her. It
And
looks her
and then
helmet's a
back-
little bit different, but
Okay, and then I think that might be.
Vizsla.
It's not Vizsla on the
Yeah.
left.
Yeah,
No,
he was part of
no,
the Death Watch, and then he joined
no,
Darth Maul.
no, Maul killed him.
No, did he? Oh,
Yeah.
he did for the saber. That's right.
This might be Gar Saxon.
Yeah, there you
go. But I was also going to point out another theory. What if the Night Owls, Bo-Katan's former crew, what if they, took Gideon? What if they freed him?
Here's the thing, why? Unless you're saying that the Night Owls are becoming those, I forget what they're called, like elite troopers, where it is Mandalorian stormtroopers, basically. Were they not like mercenaries?
We saw that in Rebels.
Yeah. So I don't know if like that's what you're going towards, but I definitely don't think it was the armor. You know what I mean? Because you even
that was one of my theories. Maybe the armor did it. That was one of my theories.
But it just wouldn't make sense, like to me personally.
Yeah, none of my theories I feel like super confident in, so like I don't feel the need to like speak too much on them.
Did my theory make sense though? Kind of how I'm thinking about everything. And there's supposed to be a conflict, obviously, between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. We already know this from interviews. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling here, but so there's going to be a conflict, and there's going to be talking and some physical altercation. I think it might be blown out of proportion. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's going to be like them going after each other. I don't think Bo-Katan would do that, no matter how much she is being manipulated to do that. And I don't think Din would fight her. I think Din would just be like, take the saber, dude. Like, I don't even care. So I'm excited to see what that is in the season, but I don't know. What do you think that whole thing is?
Like, take the saber and adopt Grogu already. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Can't raise this thing on my own. Yeah, I really like your theory. I mean, I prefer it to be something like that, rather than an actual group of Mandalorians taking him.
Yeah, I can't buy into it, And I forgot if those other elite. Oh no, they weren't made of Beskar. Yeah, the things at the end of season 2, they were just. I thought they were, but I don't know.
Oh, those were the
those like Super Trooper. I forget what they're called.
Or the Dark Troopers.
The Dark Troopers, yeah. So I don't know, but
yeah,
I don't know, dude. I think that we are gonna get a reuniting at the end of the season of Gideon and Thrawn, and a reuniting of the Mandalorians. And season 4 is gonna be. I'm not gonna say like. I don't know how to explain it. It's just going to be like a very big lead up to like the end of season 4 and into Ahsoka, because we get Ahsoka, I think, before obviously season 5 at the end of this year. Hopefully, I heard it was delayed.
Mm-hmm.
But
I got a theory.
Huh.
I do kind of have a theory that I'm a little bit more invested in here. Um, and I don't have a whole lot, you know, to base this off of, but I'll throw it out there anyways. Um, I guess my only reasoning here is Gideon, both Gideon and Thrawn obviously have more of a connection to Palpatine because they're both higher ranked um, within the Empire. And if there can only be one right hand man, it's going to be Thrawn because no one beats Thrawn. And I think that Thrawn will end up using Gideon, and then in the end, Thrawn will actually kill Gideon.
Okay. I kind of thought I was following you down a road and then realized we were on different paths. I thought you were going to say he just saved Gideon to sacrifice him later, where he's using Gideon as a pawn too. Like, we're not even going to get Thrawn at the end of this season. Maybe not even until the end of the 4th season. Or we definitely won't get him at the end of this season, and we'll probably start hearing about him in Ahsoka and then get him in the 4th season of Mandalorian.
No, I think we see him at the end. I think we see him in the finale at least.
But he's way more in the shadows. So what you just said, he wants to be the right-hand man. And maybe he got Gideon out just to kind of use him as a pawn. And so like he almost like shows a threat that like he's not showing that he's a threat because no one knows he's around, but he's showing like, oh, there is a threat. Oh, you guys got rid of it. It was just Moff Gideon. Like, don't worry about it. You guys are fine now. So maybe he like saved him to sacrifice him later for everyone to think that like they did it again kind of thing, but it really was just Moff Gideon, and he's like, yeah, no one cares about you, dude. Like, I'm still here. I got my fleet. Like,
yeah,
you know. But I definitely think that Elia knows about everything. You know what I mean? Like, she's pretty deep in it. So I'm curious to know where she comes up.
Yeah,
so I think they're setting up so much for the sequel to the sequels of the movies. I think right now that's gonna be great. And like some of the main characters, hopefully, if they're doing this correctly, Disney, like they're taking these characters and they're gonna use them at the end of the sequels and just be like, okay, like you guys didn't really like hear about these people because they're kind of waiting in the wings. Like Grogu, he's probably alive still, hopefully, and same with Din. And there's a reason why the Mandalorians weren't like messed with or well known in the universe when all the sequels are happening. So,
but on the other hand, I will say, and Favreau has talked about this recently, how like Grogu and Din, like they don't necessarily need to go into like the movies, and he has said in a recent interview that he gives us the impression that the finale for the series finale. You good?
Yeah.
He said something about how the series finale, he doesn't necessarily want it to feel like so final. You know what I mean?
Because we're getting them in the movies. This is all set up, my friend.
Yeah. Well,
like they have to. This is their bread and butter. Like they have to.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that they have that option, but they don't necessarily have to.
I think that the only way that and this gets me really excited for the sequel movies, that this is kind of what's happening. Cough, cough, get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. I think that they might be setting this up to be kind of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's world, right? The sequel to the sequels. I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, if Disney was like, all right, we're getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy, you guys are the heads of Star Wars, like, do it. They would be like 100% on board to get these characters to mesh with the world, and they would handle it so well. So I think there's kind of like a long game happening with Disney right now. They don't want to announce anything. You know, they're backing things up, and I think that they might be waiting for the end of a contract of Kathleen Kennedy, which I think is coming up pretty soon. They gave her another one, but so I'm hoping that's what happens.
Yeah, I keep hearing that she's a goner, and they're just. I keep hearing it's the worst kept secret in Hollywood, basically.
Yeah.
that it's a done deal, like that she'll be gone here soon. But
they just canceled like all of her stuff that she announced that they're doing, and it's just like, okay, like they want to start fresh. It almost feels like they're rebuilding, and the only thing that they're really focusing on right now that's coming out is anything Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. So it seems like the arrows are pointing towards like, okay, this is like the world we're going to live in now. So,
and well, we will close out the show here very soon, but
yeah, we've been running a while here, huh? Jeez.
yeah, but also there was this thing recently too, these reports saying that Favreau was like kind of at his wit's end and like kind of wanting to walk away because Kathleen was starting to
come on set,
micromanage too much, and he's like, either I'm gonna do this like I have been, or I'm done.
Yeah, so she was coming on set, and he was like, "I'm sick of this. Like, I don't want to do the show." I think that's what happened with Book of Boba Fett. Is what happened. It was like mainly a Jon Favreau thing, and then they brought Kathleen Kennedy, kept coming on set and changing things, and so he's like, "Okay, I'm done with this. Do whatever you want with it." And then they made a bunch of changes to it. It flopped. No one watched it, and they're like, "Okay, like maybe we should just."
I don't think Favreau did Boba Fett.
No, he was supposed to, or Filoni, one of the two. And they were like midway through filming it, and then left. He went and did Marvel stuff instead, and gave up on it because he didn't want to deal with, all the stuff Kennedy was putting out, and so he just dipped.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just a little confused there because I thought that the plan was always to have one of the directors from Mandalorian season 2. I thought the plan was always to have that particular director. Oh yeah, it's the one. I think it's David Rodriguez. Rodriguez is definitely the last name, but he did the episode where Boba debuts, and that one went so well that like that was kind of the plan for him.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
But I guess in either case, maybe Favreau had a bigger part in helping with that, and then he didn't want to anymore.
Yeah, he wasn't like the main guy. I think he was, oh god, what's it, like a co-producer or
yeah,
like a person that was there to give all the information to, and then like he had the story, and then it just kept getting jumbled up, and he's like, all right, like I'm done, like do whatever you want. And then he left, and then turned into Power Ranger motorcycles that aren't motorcycles, you know? Like, and then, so, but yeah, that's what I heard. I didn't think he was like running it, but like an advisor to like the writers and all that stuff. And he was on set the whole time. And then it was like, all right, I don't care. Like, whatever, have fun.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited about the sequels. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
So,
but yeah, bro, it's been a good review of episode 5. There's so much that we could still say, but yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask, have you heard about everything that's going on right now? Well, the news about how next episode is going to be a complete banger.
No.
Or what? Because it's a Bryce Dallas Howard episode, so she's going to be.
Okay. I've been waiting.
Like a...
Dude, her episodes have been some of the best ones.
Yeah.
You know, she started out small with the episode in season 1. I think it was season 1, episode 3 or 4. It was the village episode.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, dude.
And it was good. And then when was the next one? I think the next one was.
I think it was a spider episode, maybe, and maybe.
No. She did the Bo-Katan.
The Bo-Katan one, and then did she do the one with?
Still one of my favorite episodes of The Mandalorian, where they take over the ship. And yeah, that episode is so good.
Yeah, no, dude, it's been awesome. I love seeing it. Do you know who did this last episode? Did you talk about it?
No, I don't remember.
It's the guy that made Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he came over. I think the guy that directed the animated, like the guy that produced it, directed it, or whatever. I forget his name, but he did it, and that's why
Very
it was
cool.
just so like big and awesome, so well done. You know.
That's awesome. Yeah, great
Did
episode.
you want to let the people know before we get out of here, like what's coming up and what to expect?
Yeah, let them know.
Okay. Well, on Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday, if that's okay with the boss, we're gonna do a breakdown, not a breakdown, but basically a review and what our thoughts were about Bad Batch season 2. That's coming Saturday. We're gonna hit the next episode of Mandalorian again, same time, 6 o'clock next Wednesday, and then we are also gonna be diving into a review of Mario that Saturday. So stay
I
tuned
thought
for
that
that.
was
That's gonna be a
Sunday.
great one. Or Sunday.
That
Coming
weekend.
on that
next,
weekend.
Next weekend.
You're right. Maybe Sunday. We're gonna let the people go see it, and then we'll
Yeah.
spill the tea on it, talk about it a little bit.
We got a lot of fun things coming up. I'm really
A
excited.
lot of fun things. Yep. Dom's a big Mario guy, so he's gonna carry that episode because I have no idea anything about Mario. I'm gonna go in as what
I know
they
all
call
the
it.
Mario lore, all the canon. So
Yeah, I'm just a casual fan. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna be. That'll be
I know
my perspective.
I know the Mario Brothers like Legends canon. I know what's current
No,
canon
you
in the
don't.
Mario Bros. Universe. I read all the comics. Yeah, so
some fun things coming up. So stay tuned, and hopefully you can get some maybe other little clips out to you guys. We'll figure it out.
definitely. All right. I think that'll pretty much do it for our episode tonight. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in, and stay tuned. We'll have more episodes very soon.